This election season, the Kayla Evans Show on Bowie TV brings you up close and personal with Prince George's County executive candidates. It's more than politics, we're diving into their stories, passions, and visions for our community. Tune in daily on Bowie TV local channels and YouTube, and on the Kayla Evans Show YouTube channel. The special election is March 4th. Let's get into it. Welcome to the Kayla Evans Show. This platform is uniquely designed to educate and empower individuals of all walks of life as we converse with experts of various industries. These intellectual conversations are designed to inspire and uplift members of our culture and society, collectively gaining knowledge and information dedicated to our human experience. Let's get into it. Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the Kayla Evans Show on Bowie TV. We are here with another one of our illustrious candidates for the Prince George's County Executive Candidate Forum, where we spotlight the leaders and change makers shaping our community. Today, I'm thrilled to introduce a dynamic force in Prince George's County politics, Ms. Tonya Sweat. An accomplished attorney and former federal manager, Tonya brings a wealth of financial expertise and a passion for public service to the table. As a Democratic candidate for Prince George's County Executive, she's focused on tackling budget challenges, reducing county debt, and improving our high school graduation rates. Join me as we dive into her vision for the future of our county and the real solutions she's bringing to the forefront. Ms. Sweat, thank you so much for joining us today on the show. How are you?
Thank you for having me, Kayla. I am well. How are you?
I'm doing well. It's cold here in the DMV. For the folks who aren't local, we are bracing ourselves for yet another snowstorm, but you know what? We're pushing through nonetheless.
Absolutely. Look, hence my sweater today because it is cold.
We got all the heaters on. We're doing everything we can up here. Okay, keep us in prayer. But folks, we're just going to jump right in. Ms. Sweat, do you want to give us a brief introduction from your perspective of who you are before we jump into the depth of our interview today?
Look, very brief because you did a phenomenal job, excellent job introducing me. Yes, I am an attorney, 30 years of complex civil and criminal litigation experience. I also served as a judge advocate in the United States Air Force. And my last assignment on active duty was right here in Prince George's County. So this has kind of been home for me for a long time now. And I worked in the federal government as a financial and banking regulator. And I tell people my claim to fame is I served on a team that wrote the policy that became the Dodd-Frank Wall Street Reform and Consumer Protection Act of 2010. And during our writing process, believe it or not, our home, Prince George's County, was our case study. So I learned a lot about our housing market, how banks had taken advantage of many of our residents here. And I learned a lot about our economy. And I can use all of that experience and background as a county executive to help us get out of debt, number one, and get rid of our deficit in our budget.
That's fantastic. Can you tell us a little bit more about that act, since that is your claim to fame? I just want to.
Yes. I got hired in 2005. Dates are running together. It's been a long time. 2005, after I left the Air Force, I was hired by a banking regulator, small regulator, the National Credit Union Administration. The primary focus of NCUA, we call it, is regulating and insuring credit unions in the nation. I was the new girl in the office, and they gave me a not so sexy topic of consumer protection. At the time, it wasn't the flavor of the day. Mm-hmm. So I worked a lot with the FDIC, the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. I worked with the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, the Department of Treasury, the Federal Reserve Board, FEMA, you name it. I worked with a lot of agencies in the government to talk about consumer protection. We worked with DOJ and HUD on issues involving fair housing. And so literally, I was the consumer protection expert in the office. Well, here comes 2007, 2008, and the mortgage bubble burst.
Yes, it did.
And what wasn't sexy all of a sudden became the thing.
Mhm.
And because I was the person in the office who'd been working on it the longest, of course, I got thrown on all the task force, all the working groups to deal with this issue. And so working with the Fed, the FDIC, OCC, OTS, all these lettered government agencies trying to figure out how we're going to manage what's
Mhm.
happening to our housing market. And at the whole time, like for instance, here in Prince George's County, houses are losing 47% of their value overnight.
Ooh.
How do you stop that? And the only thing you can do in the executive branch of government is write regulations. And literally, we were churning regulations faster than you could blink your eye, whether it was changes to the regs on truth in lending, truth in saving, anything dealing with consumer protection. You got to give disclosures. You got to give notice. This is how you do mortgages. This is what you got to give in that HUD-1 before you sell a house. All of this stuff we're doing. And we get called up to Capitol Hill, to the Housing Finance Committee briefing room.
Ooh.
And we were told, you guys did a good job, but not good enough. And we're looking at them like, well, we don't have the legal authority to do anything else. And the next call we got was, you don't have the authority, but somebody else does.
Okay.
Congressman Frank and Senator Dodd are going to take what you've done and make it law.
Ooh. Wow.
And we were like, okay, this is great. You're going to make it law. That law included creating the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, which unfortunately 47 just shut down,
Yes.
locked the doors like 2 days ago.
Mhm.
But I had the pleasure of helping to stand up that agency. But the sad part about it is, after they pass a new law, guess what? The reg writing process starts all over again.
Oh, what a world.
So yeah, after writing the regulations, putting the policies in place, now we got to implement them. And I guess I had done such a great job, I got promoted to become a middle manager in the federal government. I was given a budget, given a team of people to supervise, given the authority to put them on planes and send them all over the country. And literally, that's what I did for my last job in the government. I was sending examiners to different banks, credit unions, financial institutions to help with examinations to make sure they were following the laws that I actually helped to write and put in place.
That's incredible. And that translates, I'm sure, directly to the unique challenges of Prince George's County at the local level. So
Absolutely.
How would you take that complex federal system type of work and then recreate that here in Prince George's County as the county executive? Exactly.
As a county executive, I mean, it's the same process. Literally, what we have to do now is take a team of experts who know what they're doing. And my team would include economists,
Mhm.
our Office of Finance, our tax assessor, our debt manager, and we'd sit down in what I would call a war room, basically my office, and say, okay, let's talk. What revenue do we have coming in? What expenses are we required to pay? What is the debt looking like? What are we doing with our money? And now let's figure out where we're wasting money, where we might be mismanaging money. If necessary, we may even have to call in auditors and do an audit to figure out, okay, what's going on with the county spending, such that now for 2 years in a row, we're telling our Prince Georgians, we're telling our homeowners we're going to have a deficit. And I don't want to cut services. I don't think that's the way to answer the question. We need to cut spending, but not cut services, because there's a lot of discretionary spending in any budget. I call it fluff and stuff. Okay. It's waste that we can get rid of very quickly and save money so that our residents don't suffer because of what we're doing in government.
Absolutely. Well, since we're on the budget topic, that's the hot button. That's the hot button for what it is right now. Not just in the state of Maryland or Prince George's County, but across the country. As we're looking at tackling these budget shortfalls and reducing county debt, what are some of the missteps, aside from the what do you call it, the fluff and stuff, the stuff and fluff? How will your specific approach differ from some of the previous administrations from what we've seen in the past?
Since at least 2005, the county has been doing a lot of borrowing. That's not a good thing because we're living on credit. Yeah. Everybody knows when we go to vote, I don't care if it's governor or the president, when we go to vote in an election, there's always a referendum about a municipal bond. And most people will say yes, because we need to put money in the libraries. We need to support Prince George's Community College. Yes, we need to build more police stations and government buildings. But voters don't understand those bonds are loans to the government. That's not a grant. That's not miracle money. It's a loan, and it has to be paid back by taxpayers. Mm-hmm. Hence the need to do a referendum and have it placed on the ballot. And literally every time I vote for governor or president in this county, there's been a bond on my ballot. Mm-hmm. And we have to stop that, because now the county literally has $2.9 billion. B like boy, like bravo, not million, $1 billion in debt, mm-hmm. which is half of the revenue we collect on our real property taxes. So you will hear our elected officials now talk about 62% of our budget going to the schools and the public safety. Mm-hmm. And our debt is 50% of the gross revenue. What does that mean? The county is insolvent. We don't have enough money to cover our debts and expenses. Mm-hmm. And in a personal household, when that happens, people declare bankruptcy. And I don't want to see that happen to Prince George's County. And I've had people ask me, can a county really declare bankruptcy? And I say, yes, they can. You remember Detroit? Ooh. Detroit, Michigan declared bankruptcy. Do we want to go through that experience? We have to get our spending under control. We have to. And we have to stop borrowing money. So when y'all hear them talking about that AAA plus credit rating, that's a credit score. What do you do with a credit score? You buy a car, you buy a house, you buy things you can't afford because you don't have the cash in the bank right now. And when you buy those things and you don't have liquid cash, you are borrowing to get it. The county has to stop that. We're supposed to have a balanced budget every single year. And what we don't include in our budget every year is the debt that we're holding. So our budget is not balancing.
So this is fantastic. So understanding the property tax, right? The real tax dollars coming from the taxpayers, from property taxes. Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about what your plan would be from the commercial side of the house. How are we attracting more business here so that we can pour more revenue into the county that way? What would your plan for that look like?
And my plan would change from what we're doing right now.
Okay.
First things first. The biggest constituent we have in this county, we've ignored that constituent for years. The Commanders Organization.
Ooh.
They're huge. And there are some elected officials who've thrown their hands up and say, well, they're leaving. They still here for 2 more years. The lease does not expire until 2027. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now let's talk about the Commanders. Okay. Right now, they're bringing $2.8 million in property taxes. The land that the stadium sits on, $2.86 million to be exact in property taxes. I looked it up. In addition to that, state law requires a 10% sales tax on every ticket that is sold into Northwest Stadium. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Every ticket. And that's been the case since 1997.
Ooh.
Regular sales tax is 6%. The Commanders collect 10%. Now, where does that money go?
That was my next 10%, question.
Yes. Believe it or not, according to the law, the 10% sales tax comes directly to Prince George's County.
Okay.
In the earlier years, it was divided between the state and the county.
Okay.
Well, the bond that the state took out to build the stadium has been paid off for years. And since that bond has been paid off, the law authorizes Prince George's County to collect every penny of the sales tax collected at
Wow.
Northwest Stadium.
Wow.
And it's not just football tickets. When Beyonce came and did her concert for 2 nights, 10% sales tax.
Ooh.
When local little league programs have their soccer tournaments there, there's a 10% sales tax on those tickets. Every ticket sold to go into that stadium has a 10% sales tax that comes back to the county. Now, how have we failed our constituent? They're bringing in all this money. We've not built a sports and entertainment complex to support them. So when the Commanders are playing during the regular season, if you pay attention to the traffic on the Beltway,
yes, ma'am.
People come in on Sundays, they go to the game, and they get out of here right after the game is over. That is not the NFL way. Think about what just happened Sunday with Super Bowl. People went to New Orleans a week before the game. They partied, they ate, they slept, they had a good time. New Orleans got a big boon off of the NFL because people come to town. It's tourism.
Right.
We don't get that same boom because we don't have anything here to offer. So if we build that sports and entertainment complex in Landover, and there's land there to do it around that stadium, we can too get hotel visits Friday night, Saturday night, sometimes Sunday night.
Right.
If we build restaurants and sports bars and give those restaurants and bars a liquor license, again, that attracts people.
That does.
They'll come eat, they'll drink, build another shopping center, they'll shop, they'll stay. All that's revenue for us. For us.
Absolutely.
And we're not thinking about that. We want to build mixed use housing. Okay, we're just going to attract more residents. That's more tax burden on homeowners. No. I need visitors to come leave a little money with us and go on back home. That's what I want. That's how we grow our economy and relieve the burden on taxpayers.
Understood. I want to change gears here a little bit, moving from the money, but still a topic that everything's impacted by the budget, right? And that's the education space. That's a space that's very near and dear to my heart as a parent of a PG County scholar. As we're kind of looking at what's happening in the education space beyond graduation rates, what are some of the innovative strategies you would look at implementing for our students and our upcoming scholars to prepare them for life after high school and entrepreneurship in a way to where it would benefit the county as constituents here post-graduation?
Great question. And guess what? I'm a parent of PGCPS scholars too. I have my firstborn graduated from a science and tech program.
Oh, congratulations.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Look, he's old now. He graduated in 2020.
Okay.
Went to college. Yep. He's graduated from college now. And guess what? He's an assistant football coach at a university in Ohio.
Oh, my.
So great things are possible for our PGCPS students.
Yes, ma'am. What a testimony.
Yes. My baby girl is a 7th grader at Academic Academy, another honor student. We are so proud of our children. And what I want to do is give every child in this county, I call them all my babies. My children know Mama has 135,000 kids, even though 2 of them came from her womb. They're all my babies. And I want to make sure they all have the best education our money can buy. What you will never hear out of my mouth is you will never hear me complain as a leader of this county about how much money from our budget goes to the school system.
Absolutely.
Because that's important. That's the most important investment we can make. How are we going to take that money, I think it's like $3 billion. How are we going to take that $3 billion and turn it into a profit?
Right.
Well, the blueprint for Maryland's future, which I fought for right along with other PTA moms and dads, I lobbied. loosely because I'm not a lobbyist, but I
Right.
did. I testified before the Curran Commission. I testified before the General Assembly. I fought for that bill just like other parents did. That bill requires our school system, number one, to establish an education for 3-year-olds, not just 4-year-olds. We're supposed to have pre-K 3
Right.
now, so that we can start educating younger children who may not get to learn their colors and their numbers at home, their ABCs at home. We're supposed to do that. We're also supposed to establish a strong foundation for children who have special needs.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Our disabled children in Prince George's County are being left behind until they get to 5. I have clients, yes, I represent special education children and their families. And I have clients right now who are fighting for an IEP from Prince George's County Public Schools because they have a 2-year-old who is diagnosed autistic and has a speech delay.
Mm-hmm.
Under federal law, that child is supposed to get an IEP and should have access to our schools, but we're not doing that. We have to start early. The other thing we have to do under the blueprint, by 2030, every child is supposed to graduate college ready or with some certification that transitions them to a job. We've got to build a more robust career and technical education program. Right now in PGCPS, CTE is optional. No longer should it be optional. It should be mandatory. If you're not in an honors program, if you're not in science and tech, if you're not in a college program that is going to get you ready to transition to a 4-year university or even a 2-year university,
right,
you have to be in a CTE program that allows you to move into the trades and continue your education, one, because they're going to train you to do the job, and 2, is going to give you gainful employment. So you don't have to worry about where your next paycheck is coming from.
That's right.
We have to do that. The law requires it by 2030, but our governor has put a pause on that. I'm not happy about that at all. But because Prince George's County has home rule, we can still do that. Mm-hmm. We can continue the process. And as your county executive, I'm going to work with the school system to make sure we continue that process. The other thing I've already done is talk to labor unions and shared my thoughts and ideas with them, because I want them to help us train our young people to do the jobs of electricians, plumbers, HVAC technicians. These are jobs that don't require college, but they get paid in some instances more money than I get paid because they don't have college debt. So that's what I'm talking about. And the more young people we put to work, the greater our income tax revenue is. That's so right. Again, we're diversifying the revenue of the county, and we're not relying solely on real estate taxes.
Understood. As you're talking about what that dichotomy looks like, understanding the relationship with the superintendent of schools and with the Board of Education, with a lot of new incomers to following the recent general election, what would your relationship look like with them as you strive to put these new programs, initiatives into place?
Look, as tough as I sound, I'm a pussycat.
You seem tough. Okay. Just putting that out there. Okay.
I am, believe it or not, I've met our new superintendent, and he's not so new anymore. This is his second school year. Yeah. I met him once, and offered to sit down with him and have a one-on-one conversation. Have not yet had the pleasure.
He's kind.
But look, from what I see coming out of the office in writing, from what I hear, he seems to be a very knowledgeable man. He knows what he's doing. Unfortunately, he's got his challenges he's got to deal with. And I'm willing to work with him to overcome those challenges, because they're not his making. So I cannot hold him accountable for those.
That's right.
This is the other thing I share. I am known, not just throughout this county by elected officials, I'm known throughout the state. Okay. Yes. I served on the Maryland State PTA board before that went away. That's a whole nother story. We won't talk about it. I almost need a drink to talk about that. But I served on the state PTA before it was dissolved. And like I said, I worked very hard to get the blueprint enacted. The leaders at the Maryland State Education Association know me well because I partnered with them. Maryland PTA partnered with MSEA to get this thing over the hump. Our state legislators, whether they're delegates or state senators, they know me. They've heard my name. They've heard my big mouth fussing, complaining about something in Annapolis. I've testified in Annapolis more times than most people even would think about in this county. I was appointed to 2 committees for the Maryland State Department of Education. So they know me there as well. And yes, every county council member in this county knows me because I've been in that council room complaining, fussing, testifying, advocating for some issue in this county, whether it's public safety and the volunteer firefighters, whether it's ethics, whether it was the zoning laws, you name it, I've been there. The elected folks in this county know the name Sweat, and they know I'm not out here shucking and jiving. I come with the law and I ask them to comply with the law. And when they don't comply, I hold them accountable. So, same thing with the school system. Same thing with the Board of Education. We can have a conversation. This is not about me trying to embarrass anybody or make you look bad. I want to work with everyone to make Prince George's County as strong as we say it is.
Amen. It's the way that you clap the hands. Okay, that's how
yes, ma'am. And we got to get this. You got to get it done. This is urgent.
It is urgent. And as a resident here in Prince George's County, trust in government here is an issue, right?
Yes.
We've seen people come and go. We've seen the cliques. We've seen the interactions and folks helping other folks based upon affiliation, whether it be sorority and fraternity, right, whether it be being backed by certain super PACs and other groups that have their own particular agendas. So understanding the history of that, one of my key things that I look for in a candidate as a voter is integrity, right? So what can you say to our voter base about who Ms. Tonya Sweat is as an individual and how your integrity will reign true throughout your role as the Prince George's County executive?
Wow, I love that question. Oh, do I love that question. First and foremost, I'm a child of the Most High.
Yes, ma'am.
Saved by grace, okay? I'm not perfect. And I understand the proverb that says, to whom much is given, much is required. Mm-hmm. And I've been given a lot in my life. My mother and my maternal grandparents, who are my grandma and granddaddy are deceased, but let me tell you, they would haunt me in my sleep. Mm-hmm. Because what they taught me as a child still lives with me today. My word is my bond. The only thing I have is my name. And once those things are gone, I'm worthless. It's not about the money, the house, the cars, none of that. My husband has entrusted me with his last name, and I will not bring dishonor to the name of Sweat, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
I didn't grow up with my father, so I didn't have a problem getting rid of my maiden name.
Understood.
But I wouldn't even disrespect the man that I never knew. Ooh. There is so much in a name, and I've worked 30 years of my adult life building my reputation. I will not throw it away for a couple dollars. Okay? First and foremost. Secondly, service is literally what I do. I grew up in the church. I live the word. It's not about reading it or preaching it. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I walk the walk every day. And I have to take care of my neighbors. And I tell everybody, children and my elders are always going to be my top 2 priorities because they're at a point in life when they really cannot take care of themselves. Mm-hmm. And if I don't do it, then who will? Them ones in between, you got some options and opportunities. I'm going to mentor you. I'm going to help you. But you can fend for yourself. And I don't want to have to fight with grown folk to get grown folk to do the right thing. Okay. So I'm going to do the right thing by my babies, and I'm going to do the right thing by my elders because I was taught to honor and respect them. Yes, and I will do that till the day I die. My integrity shines through because I do what I say. and I say what I mean. And I'm transparent. My team will tell you that. If Sweat tell you she ain't gonna do something, Sweat ain't doing it. And I'll explain to you why. I've never had a problem standing in front of a microphone, standing in front of a group of people, and acknowledging my failures, my mistakes, and who I am. Because at the end of the day, I got to sleep with myself.
That's right.
And if I can't go to sleep with me at night, I got a problem.
That's a
And
problem.
ultimately, I know there's going to come a day when judgment is coming, and I've got to give an account for every single thing I've done here on this earth. And yes, when I do close my eyes and take my last breath, I want to hear, well done.
Amen.
So that's who I am at my core. That's how I live my life. No matter where I am, job, home, friendships, that's me. Yeah, I cut up, I laugh, I have a good time. No, I'm not perfect. However, I get up, dust myself off, acknowledge my flaws and failures, and say, how can I do better the next time? That's me.
Amen. Amen. You took us to church for a second there, Miss Sweat. I grew up in the church as well. So I understand. It's not about just what you read or what you say, but it's about how you live. And I believe that's what this county needs, is someone who not just says what they say or talk the talk, walk the walk, but has to walk the walk. And I think that's what we need. Understanding that piece about who you are as an individual. There's a lot of different personalities. There's a lot of different seats and roles with stemming from the various cities, the various districts, funneling up into the county, and then the county's interconnected across the state. So how do you see yourself as the county executive bridging those gaps, making sure that those relationships move in synergy for the sake of your constituents?
Absolutely. First and foremost, I represent the people as the county executive. I represent the people of Prince George's County. According to the census data, there are 947,430 of us. Okay. We're not monolithic. We're very diverse, whether it's culture, skin color, language, background, whether it's class or wealth, whether it's education,
right,
experience, training. We're all different. But at the end of the day, the county charter says the county executive will do what's in the best interest of all of us. So first and foremost, as the county executive, my loyalty is to the people of Prince George's County. Period. Full stop. Now, how do I work with others? Prince George's County has partners, whether it's on the state level, whether it's on the national federal level, even cross borders in Virginia and in the district. I will work with them, partner with them, collaborate with them to meet the needs of the people here in Prince George's County. But what I cannot do, what I will not do, is sacrifice the interest of the people of Prince George's County just to say I accomplished something. I will never do anything for political expedience, because at the end of the day, the consequences are going to be suffered by my residents. Right. And I have to take responsibility for that, and I should be held accountable for that.
Yes, ma'am.
I acknowledge we have special interests in the county, whether it's builders, manufacturers, whether it's businesses that sell us services and goods. And yes, I'll consider their thoughts and their concerns, but at the end of the day, I will never sacrifice the best interests of my people, of us, because I'm a Prince Georgian too. I'm not going to sacrifice what's in our best interest to make the special interests happy. I will consider that, but it cannot come first.
Understood. And to that light, we're in very, unprecedented times, right? Very uncertain times. Those are kind of the words of the era: uncertain, unprecedented. People are panicking. People don't know what to do, right? As the county executive, what will your role look like in making provisions for your constituents, working with state legislators and whatnot, to kind of combat some of the things that are happening on the federal level with our new administration?
The interesting part about this election cycle, the timing is horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible.
Tell us. Tell us.
The legislative session is going on right now.
Right now.
And the primary election doesn't happen until May 7th. Legislative session ends April 7th.
Mhm.
And guess what? While everybody looks at the primary as the actual election because of our wealth of Democrats in this county, your new county executive won't get sworn in until June. Because we still have to go through a general election.
Right.
And so while I will advocate with the General Assembly for the last 30 days of the session, when I become the presumptive county executive, I still recognize and understand that I don't have the authority to really negotiate on behalf of this county until June, the summer, which sucks. Right. I mean, I'm just going to keep it honest. What I'm doing now, even in campaigning, I say things and I throw out ideas because I want them to understand if I'm elected, this is where I'm coming from.
Right.
So when I come at you with it, don't be surprised because you heard it on the campaign trail and I didn't say it just for laughs and fun. I am dead serious about this because I've studied this county for a long time. I've lived in this county for a long time. I feel the pain every homeowner is feeling, and I know we have to do something different. So when I say these things, I say it because I mean it, and I say it because I'm going to do it. So when I come at you, it shouldn't be a surprise.
Right, right.
I will continue to advocate no matter what, because I am a lawyer, okay? I will have, in my mind, 947,430 clients, all with issues, interests, and concerns that I have to deal with. And I will continue to advocate on the federal level with our federal delegation to ask them to do what they can under the circumstances to get what we need for us right here in Prince George's County. I will continue to advocate with the Board of Public Works because when our legislative session is over, there's still a Board of Public Works that controls the finances of this state. Oh, I will be talking to the comptroller, the treasurer, and the governor, constantly saying, this is what we need in Prince George's County. And I think for many years, that's what we have not had for us. That is what has gone lacking. Oh, I'm going to get in there and fight. I tell people, I don't mind scrapping. I'm a fighter. Yes.
We see it. That's what we need.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. I'm going to fight for Prince George's County. That's the only thing that's going to save us at this moment in time. The other thing I'm going to do is I'll be out there in the private markets fighting for Prince George's County because there are resources and assets on the private market that we can get that won't cost us a dime.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to bring it home. That's why day one, Mr. Josh Harris, I need to talk to you when I become the presumptive county executive. We cannot wait till June to start talking about the commanders. We need to have that conversation in March so we can start planning right now. Literally, private sector. I'm duking it out because we got to have it. We got to have it. Desperate. We're desperate right now.
We are.
And look, James Brown was from South Carolina too. I ain't too proud to be. Let's go get it.
Well, this is a question I like to kind of close the interview with. Now that we understand a little bit about who you are, how you operate, your background, your experience, your faith, your family.
Absolutely.
As you anticipate moving into this county executive role, what do you want your legacy to look like?
My children have always been my muse. I have to go back to the word because the word says it's a wise man who leaves an inheritance for his children's children. And we misunderstand what that means. We think I got to leave the house, the car, a mega insurance policy for my grandchildren. That's not what God was talking about. Prince George's County is my children's legacy. They were born here. They grew up here. They were educated here. And even though my adult son has chosen to start his career in Ohio, he should never feel like he cannot come home.
Mm-hmm.
My daughter's still here. And I'm honest with people. My husband and I have threatened, because we get so frustrated with stuff sometimes, we threaten to pack up and leave. Because, look, let's just keep it real. We like the folks who did leave. We can if we want to, but that's not who I am. Right. I always have to leave it better than I found it. Okay. And so every time we threaten to leave, my daughter starts to cry, and she said, "This is home. This is all I know. You can't take my friends away from me. I was born in the house we live in. Are you serious?" Wow. This 13-year-old is deep with this thing. This is her legacy. I have to do this for them. And not only for the 2 children I gave birth to, the 2 children we've raised here. I have to do this for every other child in Prince George's County. Because remember, I told you I've adopted them all. They're my babies.
Right.
I cannot leave Prince George's County in a mess that they cannot afford to manage or to keep. And we're on the road right now. If we don't fix it immediately, there will be nothing for our children.
Right.
That's what motivates me. It's for the future of Prince George's County. And my legacy will be, I did it for the babies. I did it for the babies.
That's it. That's incredible. Miss Tonya Sweat, thank you so much for being here today and sharing so much of you and allowing voters an opportunity to understand who that is, who that name is that they see flashing. So people can be informed about what they're doing when they go to the polls, whether they submit it in person or whether they submit it by mail. But it's their civic duty to make that decision for themselves. And I appreciate you for being so transparent on this particular platform here this evening.
Absolutely. And I tell each and every one of the voters who are viewing this, we talk about money in politics. That's why most of us hate politics. Mm-hmm. And when I'm not running on $100,000 budget, because I literally am seeking the approval of the people. The people is there. You are making this hiring decision. The voters are making this decision. And so I consider it a pleasure and an obligation to sit down with you and share me. I cannot ask you to vote for me. I cannot ask you to hire me as your county's chief executive if you don't know who I am.
That's right.
I cannot ask you to follow me if you don't know where I'm going. If you don't know what drives me.
That's right.
And so this was a pleasure for me. This is easy. I don't mind doing this. And I will promise you this. I'm going to keep doing it.
Amen. We need that.
I'll be back.
Yeah, we need to
I'll be back.
We need to hear from you in whatever capacity that looks like.
Absolutely. Because it's the approval of the voters. It's the approval of the Prince George's County residents that matters most to me.
Amen.
And I give each and every one of you the right to fire me if I don't do what I said I was going to do.
All right. You heard it here on the Kayla Evans Show, everyone, here on Bowie TV. We thank you so much, Ms. Sweat, again for your time. Tell folks how they can follow you on socials and online so they can keep up with what's happening with your campaign leading up to the special election.
Absolutely. It's all simple. Website is tonyasweat.com. That's TONYASWEAT.com.
That's it.
And all of my social media, all the handles are at Tonya Sweat, PGC, except Facebook. Facebook wouldn't let me have the C. So it's Tonya Sweat PG. But if you hit Tonya Sweat PG, you got me on Facebook, Twitter, or X. I'm sorry. I'm old.
It's okay.
It's X. Instagram. I am on Flickr. Thousands of pages on Flickr, so you can see my craziness out there with the pictures. I'm also on YouTube. There are about 50 videos of me on YouTube. And most of those, the most recent ones, talk about the various issues in the county that we need to address. So you can get into my head and see what I'm thinking about education, the debt, the budget, municipal bonds, you name it, workforce development, it's out there.
Okay.
So I'm transparent. I won't say I'm an open book, but I'm transparent. You know exactly how I'm going to govern the day I take office. There will be no secrets, no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
We got it. Locked and loaded. We'll make sure
Yes,
that
ma'am.
is available for folks to see on display.
Awesome.
All right, everyone.
Thank
you
you
so much again, Ms. Sweat, for joining us this afternoon and being a part of our PG County Executive Forum series. Until next time, folks. Thank you so much for joining me for another extraordinary conversation today on The Kayla Evans Show. I invite you to stay engaged with me on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook. Please follow me at The Kayla Evans Show on all social media and podcast platforms. More love, more life, more blessings. Until we meet again.